Hi, this evening it's going to be Lag BOmer, so I'm going to say a few words about Lag BOmer and tie it in with my friend Ben Bernstein, who very, very sadly passed away 16 years ago. So just some background about Ben, who his Hebrew name is Benjamin Ben Mordechai. I was learning with him in University of Liverpool in England between 2002 to 2005. Actually, we were housemates together for those 3 years, and everyone knew Ben knows that he was very, very highly motivational. He had like a lot of inspiration to give to other people. He was always willing to do kindness. Whenever he saw someone that was in a bad mood or was upset, he always tried to cheer up the other person and always gave it his goal with everything he had in life, whether it had been his studies. He was working hard the whole time with his health, nutrition. He was very into working out in the gym. And one thing about Ben, especially the last couple of years of his life, he started to explore about God, and he went on a religious journey where he started keeping a lot of Judaism, a lot of the mitzvot. He started becoming fully Shomer Shabbat, and started learning Torah, a lot of Torah, words of Torah, going to Shiurim. And he basically, I think it was a few months before he passed away, he told me he was working really, really hard throughout the whole week to earn enough money so that he could dedicate some time to going to Israel and learning on a full-time basis in the yeshiva, and to see how it would go long-term learning. And so he really, really, really wanted to go into learning, and not just that. Once he would learn for a couple of years, if that was what he wanted to do, to give it over to other people, to maybe work in education also on a part-time basis, possibly full-time. So this was Ben. Especially in the last year of university, he on the Friday nights he tried to invite a lot of people over to the house for dinner where we were living in, and I think even one Shabbat, one Friday night, he invited 60 people, as many as 60 people over, and cooked and all the food for them, and bought all the food, I think some of it with his own money, and really tried to make an inspirational Shabbat so that people will get inspired by maybe coming again to the university events or to other things related. It was, I think, in going back to January 2006, I think there were several Shabbats where he invited many people to come to stay in his house so that he could take them to the synagogue, give them a Friday night dinner and Shabbat meals, and try and inspire the people to maybe connect more to their Jewish heritage. And on one Shabbat I came to his house, and there was about nearly 20 others that came and stayed over in his house in East London on the Shabbat, where he organized a Shabbaton, where he actually cooked pretty much a lot of the food himself and paid for all the food out of his own money, which he had earned. He bought the hummus, Israeli pickles, made the chicken, all the falafel, and a lot of fancy foods, and really inspired the people. What's interesting, that Shabbat, he had a lot of mattresses, but he was short of one, with short of one pillow also. So he realized this and gave up his own mattress and pillow for the other person, one of the other people that was staying there, and he actually slept on the floor without a pillow, blanket, no mattress. And this was Ben, always looking to do an act of kindness, an act of chesed for other people, and that demonstrated on that Shabbat. And interestingly, he did the Shabbaton in a very small Sephardi synagogue in East London. I think it was very near a train station, actually, it was situated, where usually it would only get like 15, 20 people per Shabbat. But because he invited so many people over and told many people to come to hear the rabbi lecture and for the Suda Shlishit and for the Kiddush, about nearly 60 people came, which was like an unheard of amount in this specific, very small synagogue at the time. And he was always looking to inspire people, and many people would come to the events because he was coming. Because he was such an inspirational, he had such high motivation, many people would come for the events throughout the university time, and he always made things fun. People wanted to do it because he was wanting to do it. What's interesting is tonight we enter the festival of Lag BOmer, and it was sadly 16 years ago where he had passed away on this day itself, and he was actually sadly passed away in a horrific car accident, and he was actually on the way to an engagement party, I believe, at the time, where he wanted to make the bride and groom happy by coming and being part of the event. And we know inside the Torah, there's from the Gemara, it says that there's a mitzvah to make the Chatan and Kala happy. So he was on his way to do a mitzvah where he sadly passed away in the most tragic circumstances. Lag BOmer actually commemorates the 33rd day of the Sfirat HaOmer, where we say a blessing each evening, a bracha, for 49 days between Pesach, the second night of Pesach, till the night of Shavuot, where Shavuot is the 50th day. And Lag BOmer is the 33rd day. And what's interesting about Lag BOmer, it commemorates the day of the passing, where all the students of Rabbi Akiva ceased passing from the world, where 24,000 students were sadly taken away from a horrific plague, because they say that there was no love between his disciples, and that was the day where they stopped dying. So for those 33 days where that had taken place, there's a Jewish practice not to listen to live music and to take haircuts. And on this 33rd day, we start giving haircuts again and listening to live music, and it's a very joyous day. It's also the anniversary of the passing of the great sage, the disciple of Rabbi Akiva, Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai, who didn't pass away in this specific plague itself, but passed away many years later. And on these days, we do bonfires on the night of Lag BOmer. People go to Meron. Obviously, tragically, last year there was a sad event that happened where many people passed away in a stampede. But it's a Jewish practice for some people to go to Meron. And for the kids that are 3 years old, turning their third birthday of that year, the boys would cut their hair for the first time. They'd maybe go to a great sage or rabbi to cut a few of the hairs, and they will do a haircut ceremony called the Chalakah, where this will traditionally be done at the age of 3. And so Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai, just to say a few words on him, he was a great disciple of Rabbi Akiva, and he was a great Torah scholar, and he was learning day and night, and the Roman emperor actually put a decree on his life. So he had to run away from the town he was living in, and actually ran and hid in a cave with his son for close to 13 years it was, where he was just learning Torah day and night inside this specific cave, and endlessly. And he was sustaining himself by eating, according to the Gemara, eating dates and carobs from the carob tree. A miracle had happened where God had planted this carob inside the cave where he would be sustained. And he was learning for 13 years, and as he came out of the cave after 13 years, he dedicated his life for others, where he established a yeshiva, according to the Masechet in Shabbat. It's a yeshiva which was based in Tekoa, and where he had many disciples learning for many years. There's also people that say, it's also written inside the tractate of Brachot in the Yerushalmi, where he was actually settled in the land of Meron, which is why many people, predominantly go to the land go to Meron on Lag BOmer itself on this auspicious day. And he minted coins, and he helped people throughout the land of Israel in his last years of his life, which in a way is very similar to Ben, where he was always trying to help other people to cheer someone up. He saw someone that was down, he saw that someone was in a bad mood, he would go to a stranger in the street even. He'd see that is really suffering, or something bad is happening, and try and cheer them up. He was very confident, he was very motivational and very inspirational. And that was him, always looking at something where he can help someone else. And that's fantastic midah characteristic for any person in life to have. It's actually interesting, after Ben's passing 16 years ago, his father, who sadly passed away also a few years back, established a campaign to start doing acts of kindness to other people, where we see someone that needs an act of kindness, we would give it to him in whatever aspect it would be, whether it would be dedicating some time to work with a person, doing acts of kindness, bringing food, even helping people financially. That's what Ben's dad actually establishes, and there was tens and tens of thousands of hours of acts of kindness that was actually done at the end in his memory. So I still suggest, even with 16 years after his passing, we should still now, even more than ever, do more acts of kindness in his memory. We should, like this week and carry on throughout the year, see some act of kindness we can do for other people and do it. Or alternatively, we could make a Lag BOmer resolution on ourselves and find a small act of deed which we could do, a deed or an area we need to work on ourselves. Something where we feel we're lacking on, including myself, and try and look at that specific thing and try and work on ourselves and grow on ourselves, and not just carry this momentum for a week of Lag BOmer to carry it out through the rest of our lives, to see something small we can do, whether it is religiously or with other people, what we can do. To look at that small act of kindness. I want to say also that one of the reasons why I studied in yeshiva for many years after Ben's passing was mainly down to Ben. He had such an inspiration, and he really wanted to grow and spend a year or two in yeshiva. So I really took that upon myself, and I ended up studying many years, and I still learn a good chunk of the day while I'm working the majority of the afternoons and evenings. And mainly down to him and my yeshiva experience. Now I've got, Baruch Hashem, a very good large family, an amazing wife, and I put a lot of it down to him, his inspiration and his motivation. And a lot of people benefited a lot from him in university, in many different ways, in their characteristics, how they treat other people, how they have a positive aspect in life, and many people grew a lot from him. And I think we should try and keep that momentum of his. And Be'ez Hashem, maybe we will have a joyous Lag BOmer and try and enjoy the night, and try and learn, if we can, some Torah, or listen to a few thoughts of Torah, if we can, or try and have reflection on this specific day, and keep up with the spirit of Omer that's going to come in 2 weeks' time, where we celebrate the Chag of Shabbat. So I want to wish everyone happy Lag BOmer, and maybe we all do acts of kindness for many years in memory of Benjamin ben Mordechai, Ben Bernstein, who sadly passed away in May 2006. May you all have a fantastic week. Thanks.